Welcome back today to another video of our state series being done by the Academy of Adoption and Assisted Reproduction Attorneys. Today we're covering the state of Oregon, and we have a lot more fellows within the state of Oregon, but today we have just two today to give you a nice introduction to the state of Oregon. And they're two of our best fellows, so you should be excited to meet them. Let's start with introducing you to Robin today.
Hi, my name is Robin Pope, and I'm an attorney in Oregon. I've actually just celebrated 40 years as an attorney. And out of those 40 years, since 1991, I've been working in the area of surrogacy and assisted reproduction, along with adoption. And my practice now is exclusively surrogacy and family formation law. I've helped legislatively in Oregon since also the same time frame, 1991. I've helped write laws regarding adoption, and then more recently in 2017, helped write and get passed our really almost only surrogacy related bill regarding gamete donors. So we went from having only a sperm donor statute to now having a statute that covers egg donors, sperm donors, and embryo donors. I also have worked twice now on an amicus brief for the Academy involving an egg donor case, which directly involves our new sperm, egg, and embryo donor statute. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Oregon Supreme Court does with that. I have been on the board of Quad A and served as a trustee. And then I'm just regularly involved in issues with the court here in Oregon and with different state agencies involving surrogacy. So I have information I'd love to share with you about how the process works here in Oregon.
Wonderful. And Jennifer, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi there. My name is Jen Wolfsong. I am an attorney in Portland, Oregon. I co-own a firm with my wife, Beth, and we do a ton of assisted reproduction law practice area. And I also practice in the area of adoption. And we started in 2013. But before that, we both worked at a firm that did a lot of cases with under assisted reproduction law. And yeah, we've been going strong since 2013 on our own, and we really enjoy the practice of family formation law, and would love to speak with you further if you have any particular interest in the state of Oregon.
Great. All right, you two. I am not licensed in the state of Oregon, so let's cover some of the areas that people are probably clicking on this video and wondering. Which so generically, Jennifer, is Oregon a go-to state for assisted reproduction?
I would say definitely yes. We're very LGBTQ friendly. We have a really great process for surrogacy and establishing intended parents as the legal parents of their child in Oregon, thanks to Robin Pope, mostly. But yes, we are very assisted reproduction friendly here, I would say.
Okay, great. So Robin, you mentioned the statutes and your work at the legislature. Are there areas that are not covered by Oregon law or anything people need to worry about in terms of picking Oregon as a state?
I think Jen would agree with me when I say that the big question here is, are surrogacy agreements enforceable under Oregon law? And we don't have specific law regarding that, the way some states and actually a growing number of states have. But to the best of our knowledge, we haven't had cases that have gone to court here, except for a very old kind of one-of-a-kind case involving a traditional genetic surrogacy, which we mostly feel we can disregard. And then we actually have a very tiny criminal statute that says it is not against the law to pay expenses in a surrogacy. So that would say that it's okay to do that. So when we prepare contracts for people who come to Oregon to have their child through surrogacy, we're careful to make sure that we have an arm's length transaction, that there's an attorney for the surrogate, a separate attorney for the intended parents, and that we have a negotiation of that contract so that we can rely on contract law if there were a dispute to say that this agreement should be upheld because it was reached through very traditional methods of contract negotiation and then agreement and execution of the contract.
Okay. So when people are flipping through videos or they're looking at the different states where they might be involved, I know, just the generic question always is, can I get a pre-birth order there? What about a post-birth order? What does that procedural process look like in Oregon? Either of you can answer.
It's a very smooth and collaborative process. What happened about 16 years ago is I, with the help of Tim Brewer, another fellow of the Academy, developed a process using our declaratory judgment statute. I worked it through with several judges in the Portland area, and then with the various state agencies that needed to be involved, such as Vital Records. And we now have a process where you can get a pre-birth judgment. We call them judgments in Oregon, not orders. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have a judgment, because a judgment is entitled to full faith and credit under the United States Constitution, which would mean you can take your judgment to any other state in the US and have it recognized. So it doesn't matter if you're a single parent, if you're two dads, two moms, mom and dad, it simply doesn't matter in Oregon. Our parentage process is based on intent. And so what is your intent when, as an intended parent or a surrogate, you enter into that contract, and then that baby is born? The intent is for the intended parents to become the legal parents. And our courts recognize that. And so that makes Oregon, I think, even more friendly, because you don't have to be concerned about your marital status, whether you have a husband, a wife, it doesn't matter. You can be single. And it also means that it doesn't matter if it's your genetic child completely, like sperm and egg combined to make the embryo, or if you use a donor egg or donor sperm to create your embryo. We look at your intent. Who is intended to be the parents of your child? And that is who gets to become the legal parents in Oregon.
So Jennifer, what's the benefit of working with other fellows within the state of Oregon from the Academy itself?
Well, I would say the biggest benefit is that if you are a member of the Academy, then you have some experience and knowledge about Oregon and how to work together collaboratively to get to where, what everybody's intent is, which is intended parents are the legal parents of the child and the surrogate is not. What I like about working with, other Oregon attorneys, experienced in assisted reproduction law, is that it doesn't become it's not a combative process. Everyone wants to get to the same place. Everyone wants, the surrogate to be, compensated and fairly treated and have her own attorney to negotiate her specific circumstances, and the same with the intended parents. And, people who are members of the Academy in Oregon are familiar with that. And that just makes it a smoother process.
Great.
I would agree with that. I think the collaboration, along with advocacy for their clients, is a hallmark of Academy attorneys, where we understand that we are advocates for our clients, but that in a surrogacy matter, we all have the same desired result. We all want the same thing, a healthy baby and a healthy surrogate, and everyone to have been treated fairly. And so I think that's a huge advantage of working with other Academy members.
Great. So, for the general public, Oregon is friendly. That's what we've heard. That's the summary. And you probably still need to speak to one of these attorneys about your specific circumstances. And so if you'd like to speak to one of the Oregon Fellows of the Academy, you can go back to our website, and on our website, we have a map, and you can click on the map, and then you can click on Oregon, and you can receive a list of all the attorneys for the state of Oregon. And you will see them designated by whether or not they're an adoption fellow, an art fellow for assisted reproduction and technology, or you'll see that they're a dual fellow. But you can get the information, contact information for each of them at adoption adoptionart.org, O-R-G. So again, that is adoptionart.org. And thank you too for sharing today and explaining Oregon. And I'm sure they look forward to hearing from each of you that are watching this video.
Could I make one more comment or
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so what that brings me to is who can use Oregon successfully to become legal parents? And I know that people worry about jurisdiction and venue, which are legal terms, but essentially the Oregon court needs to have authority over someone in your particular situation. So typically what our court wants is for the baby to be born in Oregon in order to issue either that pre-birth or post-birth judgment. And if we don't have the baby born in Oregon, it becomes much more difficult to convince the court that the court has the legal authority to establish you as the parents. It actually becomes very important. Venue, on the other hand, the Oregon court doesn't care about under our legal process for establishing parentage. We could file anywhere in the state of Oregon. I think most of us Academy members file in Portland in Multnomah County. It's simple, it's easy. The judges there are familiar with it. It works very well. And since it doesn't matter, then we just all put our cases into Multnomah County. But jurisdiction becomes very important. So for example, if you have a surrogate who lives in Idaho, but says she's going to give birth in Oregon, but then doesn't give birth in Oregon, you may not be able to use Oregon to establish parentage. So you do have to be careful about that and talk to an attorney who's experienced in these situations to make sure that you can become legal parents.
And the good news is through that map that I mentioned, you can find fellows in the other states that if your matter is involving 2 states, you'll find fellows in each of those states that you can communicate with until you get to the right answer for what you need. So again, that website is adoptionart.org, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, you two.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank
Good
you
to see
very much. Thank you.